right, all right. Let's see. We are here to a scheduled broadcast, Facebook Live. And with me here is Denny Santoso. Hey, Denny. Welcome.
Hey, hi.
Welcome to the broadcast. How are you today?
Great, great. Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. This is so awesome. So let's see here. So here's hello from Beantown, Dean Robinson. Let's say hi to some people as they come online. And guys, if you see this broadcast in the Trackify group or in any other group where it's been shared to, click through to the main page where the broadcast is hosted and leave your greetings and your messages and your questions there, because then we can show them on the screen and it's easier for us to answer them, okay? Imran is here. Hi, Thomas, glad to be here. Hi, Imran, glad to be you there too. Paulie says no volume. Is that true? Is that true? Is there no volume? We're hearing each other here wonderfully. And I think that volume must be on your end, Paulie. Fumble a little bit, see what you can do, and see if you can get it working. Let me know if it works. Everybody else, can you guys hear us? Is there volume? Can you hear us? Hello, hello? Okay, yeah, Paulie restarted. It's good. Okay, awesome. Then we can go. All right, who else is there? Let's see who is coming on. I think this is a nice time for a broadcast. I've usually not done Facebook Lives in my later evening like this. It's later in the evening here now, and it's, what is it there in the morning, right? We're just about 12 hours like on the other side of the world.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
In the morning right now.
Yeah, so this is a good time to do a Facebook Live. We're going to get a nice live audience going. So again, guys, if you see this broadcast in another group, go ahead and click through to the Thomas Bartke fan page so that you can say hi to us. Here's William says Yeep. Imran says volume is good. All good. Izur, thank you. Gretchen is here. Hi guys, I can hear y'all. Awesome. Then we have John Melwark says hey, and Steven says all is good there as well. Okay, I think we're good. So let's just jump in and kick it off. We have a little bit of an agenda here going, but guys, this is kind of open and loose and nice, and a nice little gathering. If you have any questions about anything, here's your opportunity to ask Denny something in English. Denny is a great publisher and teacher, but he teaches most of his stuff not in English. So I'm always sneaking into your posts when you post these great wisdoms in whatever language it is, and I go and make a comment and say, awesome. Like, I wish I understood something.
Okay.
So now here's the opportunity to ask Denny something in English, and he will answer in English. So let's start. Let's kick it off. We're going to start off with Denny's travel schedule. So Denny, you have been around the globe several times. We met originally, we met online and did some work together before then, but then in person, we met for the first time actually in Cologne. Right here is the Cologne Pixel Mastery Intensive event, and here's Denny, and here's Denny's wife Helene, and they're awesome people, and everybody in this photo is awesome, and it was a great event. But so that's where we first met, and
actually, right? The second one, right? I mean, we met first in Singapore in February, Pixel Mastery event, right?
Oh. Yeah, you're right. We met there too. I have to dig up a photo for that as well. You are right. We did meet in Singapore for the first time. That's right. I totally forgot about this. Things become like blurry. Okay, so we add this to your travel schedule right there. So at Singapore, there was Cologne, and there was a bunch in between. But fill us in, and what are you doing right now? Where are your travels taking you? What are you doing right now when you're traveling?
So like last month, I just came back from.
Yeah, it's crazy. So like what other people do, they go every now and then, they travel somewhere for 3 or 4 days. You do this by coming home. You come home for 3 or 4 days, and then you're back off again. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
and then after Phuket, I'm going back for about 2 days, and then I'm going back to Surabaya. Yeah, another city, just another city, not another country though.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. So then what do you actually take away from these masterminds? I mean, so much mastermind, it's like you have relatively little time to implement in between. but we get to the implementation part a little later. But so, what is for you the big takeaway? Why do you attend so many masterminds?
Okay, so the first thing in my mind, if I attend a mastermind, is the networking. The networking is always awesome. I mean, the content for the mastermind is awesome, but the networking. I met with a lot of people, like 10 to 20 people per mastermind, and with all the different background, I can get like a lot of insight from all of the different people. So for me, the networking is number one, and then the content. And for implementation, yeah, we can talk about it later. I have the team to do everything.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So networking and content. So networking. So mastermind, really on a real mastermind, there are typically people there that are operating at a very high level already, right? Because these are usually fairly high ticket events. So you get there with other people who are advanced, and there's a lot of sharing of ideas and other people looking at what your business is doing and giving you ideas to improve on that, right? And so that's really the core of mastermind.
Yes, we don't really discuss about the technical stuff. Yes, we discuss a little bit about technical over dinners, but the main discussion is always about the business insight, all the idea, all the bird view, perspective, that kind of stuff. So it kind of helped me to set a goal. Where my business is going. I mean, technical stuff is technical stuff, but we need to know where we are going, right? So all the bird view perspective is very important for me.
Right. So shaping the vision and setting the goal higher, right? I think that the issue is always if you don't do that, you're going to hit a ceiling just because you don't know the next level, right?
Yes.
I always find that one of the most inspiring things about masterminds is just to see, what's possible in what other people have accomplished, and it's sometimes this comes in screenshots, right? This kind of a very superficial way to have a similar experience. If you see a screenshot someone has, $1 million a month or whatever, $100,000 a day or whatever it is, or something smaller, just something that is for them reaching the goal that they've set. And then there's somebody else who has another screenshot that's bigger, and you see, oh wow, I know I got from $100. Yeah, I know I got from $100 a day to $5,000 a day, or to maybe $2,000 and then to $5,000. And now you go, wow, this guy has $25,000 days. But now this is much more reachable even from where you already are. You couldn't hardly believe that you could do it to a $5,000 a day from a $100 a day. But now that you're at 5,000, you have an even bigger goal, and you feel that, okay, because you can actually exchange thoughts and be in the same room with the same people who have, overcome those challenges before, you're in a better position to do the same.
Yeah, so I don't have to repeat the mistake myself too.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I kind of put mindset in here, which was one of our topics that I wanted to go to, because this is kind of where this is going as well, right? With the mastermind, and what you're talking about is really shaping your mindset, so you stay in this winning attitude, you stay in this, yes, we can do it more, and you kind of have to be able to overcome the downturns, right? Because there are always challenges, there are always moments where it doesn't work as well as it used to a little while ago, and you have to kind of push through. You have those two, or yours is always just taking off?
Okay, so for mindset, the first thing is I got a question one time from my friend, how to make your mindset is so open. You have open mindset that, I love it. So my answer is actually, your mindset is 90% bullshit, okay? 90% bullshit. So if 90% bullshit, why you trust 100% to your mindset? So believe that your mindset is sometimes correct, but most of the time it's not correct. Okay, especially if you haven't reached your goal yet. It's totally your mindset. Okay, so understanding that your mindset is bullshit, now you can accept other people's mindset. You can accept other people's opinion. That's first thing. First thing, if you want to open your mindset. Okay, and then second thing is in Facebook or digital marketing, data oriented is more important than opinion based. So a lot of people based on opinion. According to these people, this one is better, that one is better, and you keep jumping from one thing to another thing. Okay, so for me, if you want to be expert in digital marketing like Thomas, well, I know Thomas is very data-driven decision guy. So that's the most important thing. If you want to know whether PPE or website conversion, you have to test. Don't just ask, just test everything. So the next one is always be testing. Always be testing. Everything you have to test. Because, for example, if you ask Thomas about PPE and he said not good, okay, for example, you have to test because your ads account is going to be different than Thomas' ads account. So every ads account will generate different result. So you have to test everything, okay? And in Facebook, you have to pay to play, okay? So a lot of people say like, I don't have money and I want to start this business. Well, you can't, right? Because you need money. It's not much, but you still need money. You are dating, you still need money too, right? You are driving a car, you need money to buy your gas. So everything needs money. It's not like free capital business. You need money. It's not that big compared to conventional business like opening a stores, hiring, renting, building. It's not that big, but it still need money. So it's a pay-to-play game. Okay. And the next one is for me, please detach your feeling with the result. Please, really, please, because if you are attaching your if you are attaching your feeling to the result, it's gonna be like up and down. And most of the time, if it's down, you're gonna leave it like, Facebook doesn't work, digital marketing doesn't work, e-commerce doesn't work, that kind of stuff. So please detach your feeling with your result. Okay, and well, the last one is the most asked question is, what if I'm a newbie? How much budget should I start? I got a lot of questions like that. Okay, so you learn that from Thomas, but my mindset is Facebook cannot differentiate newbie and professional player. Facebook only know that you are an advertiser and that's it. They have algorithm. You are an advertiser and that's it. So you have to understand the algorithm of Facebook if you want to play Facebook. And that's it. No newbie, no professional. So you have to understand the algorithm. That's what Thomas teach the best. I think that's all for for the mindset from
awesome. Me. Yeah. No, there are some really cool nuggets there. I always think that, the mindset, particularly, it helps you overcome the ups and downs. There are some natural human responses to success and also to your perceived failure and the fear of losing something, the fear of everything breaking down and falling apart. And this is a very bad advisor in your mind. So the self-talk that comes from that, from the natural, natural response to these emotions, is usually a bad thing. So you have to train your mind to do the right thoughts. There's this.
I want to add something, Thomas.
Yes.
The first time I started with this e-commerce stuff, the first month I only generate like $1,400 a month. Okay, so I feel like I'm so happy that I can make money. But my friend, when I told my friend about it, my friend at the same time, June last year, made 25K. I feel like, what?
Yeah.
So I feel like, okay, God told me that, God must remind me that I have to keep humble. Okay, so,
right.
but it's burning something inside me, right? Something is not right. I made only 1,000 something and my friend made like 25K. So I searched everywhere and I found you. And the first time I learned from you, I hit the 100K a month. Okay, that's the first time I reached 6 figures. Yeah, 6 figures. Yeah. Okay, and then after 1 month, they have Rio event, Olympic, right? In August last year. It kills my ads, like totally kill my ads. And then I was in a really, really bad mood at that time because after 100K and then the next month, the whole month is only like 9K, 10K. Feels like, come on, it's really up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
But after 1 month, put it this way, after 1 month, the mindset that changed me is a lot of people trying to work like for 1 year, one whole year, just to get like 60K, 80K a year. Okay, they work so hard to get that number. What if within 1 month you get 100K, and God told you that for the rest of the month, please don't do any business, just do vacation.
Yeah. You just relax, right?
So 1 year income pressed into 1 month, and the rest of the month just go vacation, holiday. It's gonna be awesome, right? Who doesn't want that, right?
Yes, no, absolutely.
After that kind of thinking, I feel like this is awesome, man. This is awesome, and I keep going.
Yeah, no, I mean that takes us kind of into the next subject, because the whole point about Q4, the fourth quarter, it's just started. We're in the third day of the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter in traditional businesses is so lucrative, and there's so much revenue coming from the fourth quarter that for a lot of real brick and mortar businesses, that is the time where they make all the money that they need to make. And the other 9 months, they're kind of like tinkering along and fluttering along and hardly breaking even. And then in the fourth quarter, they're doing everything that there is to get. So having these, time-based focuses on specific times where, engagement is usually super high because everybody's looking for something to buy. So everybody's looking for gifts for other people to buy them and so forth. So having certain events, certain days, or certain times during the year to focus on when you make all your money, when you make your big jackpots, and then the rest of the time you just kind of tinker along. You acquire some buyers so that you can make some email marketing campaigns, when the big days are coming. Like Black Friday is going to be a huge day, but it's going to be that much bigger if you've acquired 20,000 buyers, no matter if you've made a ton of money on acquiring them or if you just broke even. But if you have them and if you can resell them on something that they can buy at a discount, you're going to get a huge Black Friday, just a single day.
Yes.
And so to me, it's always kind of, astonishing. I have several stores that have done really well in different times of the year in the past 3 years since I've really started with e-commerce. And I've decided to revamp them a little bit, take the ones that were really good and just take the past winners that I know will be great winners again and just run them and have a team run that store. And then also set up another store to, just tap into something new, see if I can come up with a new good idea for something that will be a great winner for the fourth quarter. And so having these kind of little goals, like how do you do that? What are your plans for your stores that you're setting up for fourth quarter?
So usually we think about scaling up and scaling out. Right now we are aiming like what you do, Thomas. We are building more stores for sure, and then we put the production in flow. The production means like a lot of people always think how to find a winning product for Q4. So the thing is not how to find a winning product, because a winning product usually only lasts for 1 month, 3 weeks, sometimes even more. Just a little more. So what I learned in a lot of mastermind is to keep your production of product research in flow. So it means like if you have a winning, please keep searching for new products. That's what I do the best right now. I keep stock of the new product that I want to launch. So we have the schedule for launching a new product like every 3 days, every 2 days. And then I set up the agent in China. So we do bulk order. We don't do like the one by AliExpress anymore, because with Q4 usually that's really crowded session, right? Mm-hmm. So it's really hard for the AliExpress to fulfill the demand too. So we do the agent. So you have to go to China to find a good agent. Actually, I don't know, because finding an agent is a bit tricky. I went there like a few years ago and I found one. So she's keep working with me since 2014. So yeah, it's the best if you can find an agent and can fulfill your whole process. And then one more thing. So a lot of people keep competing in a low price item, low margin item like $19.99 or free plus shipping, that kind of stuff. Remember in Q4, a lot of people put more budget into the advertising. So the cost per purchase is going to be like rising like a lot. So what I suggest to you is to find some product that can have margin big enough to make it profitable. So a lot of people say like the cost of the cost per purchase is rising. I can't make it profitable. And when I ask like how much are you selling, they say like 19.99. Come on, even the cost per purchase is 25, man. Sometimes 30. So you have to make a margin like 40, 45 something. I even met a friend who make like six figure with 80 to 120 price range. 80 to 120. It keeps selling. No worries. So don't be afraid. Okay.
Yeah, the competition is less in these price ranges too. So
yeah. So yeah, you say like the engagement is rising in Q4, but also the competition is rising. So be careful with that. So yeah, find a higher margin product is better, I think.
right, yeah, for sure. Yes, excellent. So I know that you're not really your own product research specialist because you have your wife in your business. Here's a good photo again with Philly.
You still have it.
What? Yeah, sure. I tapped into that. So Philin is your product research specialist, and
Yes.
so we can't really reveal any big niche secrets here. But like, what's her method? Like, what would you just in rough terms? How would you describe her way of finding winners among the other things?
Okay, so I jumped from mastermind to mastermind, right? Searching for the perfect way to find a product actually. So in Cullen and your mastermind, I asked the same question to a lot of people. And so there's no silver bullet, by the way, on finding products. So what we do is actually browse a lot. Felin usually browse a lot in YouTube because we need to see the video of the product, right? So we see if the product is have a high engagement in YouTube. Doesn't mean that it already sell well in Facebook. YouTube and Facebook is different platform. So when you see something like a product with like a million of viewers and no one is selling on Facebook, that's a gold, man.
And that's a good idea, right?
And that's the next thing. We just try to find the product supplier, the product vendor on AliExpress, or with our agent. So most of the time that's what Felin doing. So browsing a lot, usually mainly is on YouTube.
Does she focus on products that are targeting women, or is she good at finding guy products as well?
We've been doing women for all the time, yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it seems like it's always a little bit cheaper to get engagement and get a little bit more viral traffic from them.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So yeah, Paulie is saying, what's an example for fourth quarter only niche?
Maybe you can answer better for Q4 only, because in Indonesia, I don't sell in Indonesia, so I don't really understand the situation in US.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So it's like really, anything that is specific to holidays. People, there are typical present things that people give each other. On the top of the line there, on the top of the ladder is probably any kind of jewelry. And among jewelry, it could be something that is, holiday themed. That would be like totally a niche store for that. That's going to have a huge boom, a huge revenue increase in the fourth quarter. And with that kind of store, you can actually sometimes kind of tinker over and make it keep it working into the spring, when Valentine's Day runs around and things like that. So always like the theme of giving gifts to each other in romantic relationships, with married people, with engaged people, with people who are friends, relationship themed gift items, but also toys. If you want to go for higher price items, anything that's great as a toy to give to your husband, to give to your friend, to give to your son, to give to your daughter, anything that's like technical gadget could be a good thing that has a huge boost in fourth quarter. You want to add something to that?
No, you cover most of it. What about new Facebook changes?
Yeah, what about them? Let's see. What about new Facebook changes? What are you guys doing differently now?
Oh yeah, I do one thing. I tested recently, like 2 days ago until today. My worldwide campaign runs better right now. So I do worldwide, plus sometimes just crowd targeting. So for example, worldwide, and then cats, and that's it, and that's it. My ROAS is like 4 times, 5 times, so it's pretty good. Yeah. Usually people start with precise, right? So this one is a broad worldwide is better right now for me.
So broad worldwide interest. Do you take any countries out of worldwide? Like sometimes I see that,
Yes,
like
yes.
that. Okay, so one example in U.S. ads, there in recent maybe 4 to 6 weeks, is that we have huge, very expensive CPM a lot of times, and particularly with lookalike audiences. Lookalike audiences, the cost per 1,000 impressions has really, by and large, skyrocketed for the US. And I found that it's kind of counterintuitive, but actually you can get with interest, you can get a lower CPM. And sometimes now I found when you do worldwide targeting with a very similar audience, but instead of just US, you target worldwide, all of a sudden you get CPM under $2, whereas in the US, it may have been as high as $25 or $30. So it's huge difference in the cost of traffic. But does that come as, is there a disadvantage to that? Are there countries that are just kind of spam clickers that are clicking all the time and that's what brings the CPM down, but you don't want all that traffic?
I get a little problem with fraud actually. So I do
Yes.
exclude a lot of country with fraud, other like Brazil, Peru, Colombia, Bulgaria, Mexico, this kind of
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah.
Most of them.
As well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really important to make sure to go through through your stuff and break down by country and keep track of where your sales are going, where your product profitability is, and also where your refunds are going. That's really important.
Yes.
Fraudulent transactions. Here's a long question. Imran, Thomas, I'm starting out with $1,000 budget. How do I go about testing the products? Can we test with manual bid? Strategy you discussed in one of your webinars. Well, manual bid strategy, I really use them more for scaling than for testing. I test with auto bids and lower budgets, so I can cast a wide net to test. Wide net of products, wide net of audiences, and wide net of bidding models and optimization models. And once I find the best performing winner out of those, then I know I can scale this. There's an interesting point to be made. What is the ratio between testing and scaling, or how many products do you test until you find a winner? Well, usually, I have one store that has almost 10,000 products, and very few of them make for the bulk of the sales. 90% of the sales come from maybe 4 or 5 products out of 10,000 products. So it's like you wonder, why do you keep all the other ones? Well, every now and then somebody comes around and they search and they say, oh, I want this one. And there are sales from them, but it's, as far as driving ads are concerned, it's totally skewed. We're driving the ads only to the winners, and those are the ones that we're scaling. So then your manual bid ads go to, and your high budget ads go to the winners, and the others just kind of take the breadcrumbs and the leftovers, and that's fine. That's how you run the business, and that way, you can distribute the load better, and everything works better.
Okay, I want to add something about testing. So Thomas told me about the data is saved in ad set level, right? So what I do is usually when I start testing the product, I do. By the way, I'm using lookalike audience, right? I'm using because I already work in this niche for quite some time. So what I do is I launch lookalike audience. For example, US lookalike 2% purchase, for example. I started with 3 ad set. So 3 ad set. It's all duplicate, auto, $100 budget per day. So I run it for about 10 to 12 hours, usually 10 to 12 hours after my ads account time zone. And after 10 to 12 hours, usually one will perform the best, while one will perform like normal or so-so, one will perform the worst. So I just kill whichever ads that losing money. So if this one is profitable, I keep both and compete. If this two is losing money, I will kill both. Just keep this and see for the next 24 hours. And the next day is I'm scaling if it's profitable, if it's still profitable. But this only for one audience and ad set. So for example, if you want to test like US look like 2%, you create 3, and then you create, for example, Canada purchase look like, and then you create 3, and then you create like Australia another 3. So that's how I test the product before scaling with manual bid.
Awesome. So even for your worldwide scaling, you're preparing that with tests in your big markets, in individual countries.
Yes. That's the ad set, because I feel sometimes like I get the randomness effect from Facebook, which sometimes these ads, the exact same ads will generate different results.
But that's awesome that you test at $100 budget. I usually test lower budget and I use more ad sets in the setup. I may use 10 different ad sets and run them at $20 each, and they're also copies of each other. We should fill in.
Plus, I mean, how long are you going to test it before you get the data with $20?
Usually after about 36 to 48 hours, you start seeing the winners there. The winners are usually then, they have 3 to 5 sales at that time, and then you can do something with them. Then you can, scale them on. But I like the $100 budget because it goes faster.
Yes, 10 to 12 hours enough.
Are you getting any issues with data delay? Like, are your sales usually coming in right away, or are you? I'm seeing a lot of times that I have almost nothing reported on the same day. Maybe 20% of sales are showing up on the same day. But when you look at it the day later, then all these sales, a lot more sales come in and are reported and showing up.
No, I'm fine with the reporting.
Okay,
like
so
80%, 80%, yes.
Yeah, good. It may also be an effect of being the buyer behavior on your specific products. Like if you're scaling or if you're testing products that really turn into sales right away, then they should be reported right away. But if you're doing products where they end up buying later in the day, you send the traffic earlier in the day and they wait until they buy to the evening, then sometimes you can see delays because of that as well.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, well, good. All right, so that brings us to another interesting subject that you mentioned, and that is a completely new keyword, journaling. And you brought this up just in our conversation before this call. And so tell us a little bit more about that. Tell us what you mean by journaling and what do you do when you journal?
So with Facebook, if you are working with Facebook, there's no Facebook never released their algorithm to public, right? So everything that Thomas taught is always a best practice that he tested himself. Like if you follow a lot of people, they will have their own method of testing, scaling, and so on and so on. So basically, that's what I call a workflow. So if you start doing the e-commerce with Facebook, basically you need a workflow of your own, right? But if you still a newbie, you don't have your own workflow, you follow Thomas, for example, to copy, to understand, to learn about his workflow. So when Thomas said, like, I'm testing with wider net, with smaller budget, and so on, it means like that's his workflow, okay? So what you need to do is to find your own workflow. But to learn all of this workflow, you need to keep a journal. So what you have to do, what I'm doing is actually, I read everything that come to my mind. Like Thomas said something about this, I will write that in my journal. For example, I'm thinking that Thomas' decision is good or bad. I will write the same thing. Everything that goes into my mind, I will write into my journal. Like why I'm doing this. What is the result? I screen capture, I put into a journal. So like scientists working in a lab, they don't repeat the same mistake twice because they have all the journal. For example, for product research, keep a journal. Like how do you find the product that you run right now? For example, I search from YouTube. So the criteria from YouTube is I have to find a product with, for example, 1 million views, for example, right? So you have to write down every detail like that. For example, if you run a jewelry, and you're not making any profit, you have to write down like what kind of jewelry that I run. If the jewelry, if is it profitable to run a jewelry, that kind of stuff. Everything that runs in your mind, you have to write it down so you can look back and see the progress of your learning. So that's what I do with journaling. So everything that comes to my mind and every result I will screen capture. Remember the first time that we worked together last year? I keep a journal, like I'm testing. This is the testing journal, the testing workflow. This is the scaling workflow. This is for product research. I'm bad at this point. I give it to you. So that's how I learn. Yeah.
Right. That's really awesome. So what do you actually use for a tool for that journal? Do you use pen and paper, write it out,
No,
or do you type it into some tool in the computer?
I just create like with Evernote or OneNote, and that's enough. Yeah, because you need to screen capture, copy paste. So paper is not gonna work.
Right. Yeah, it needs to be electronic. And do you have a routine, like a scheduled routine of going back through your journal? Because I mean, writing it down is good. That's great. But I imagine that you get the real result from it if you go back into it and actually read it at some point in some sort of regular schedule.
Yeah. During the learning, every day, I think I wrote, and then I keep looking back like the past few days, and then within a month, probably a month after quite a lot of things happen in the journal, I will keep like looking back, skimming the process.
Yeah.
But
Isn't
usually it's very important if you just starting.
Yeah, so this brings up an interesting aspect of the whole thing. I think that a lot of times we are putting ourselves under too much pressure to have instant results and to be performing and like have only winners when we test, and that sets us up for failure, or it sets us up for giving up when we experience a failure or a perceived failure or temporary failure, right?
Yes.
And this kind of like keeping a journal, taking the time out to let the brain actually process what's happening, and then taking the time to schedule that you reread this and remind your brain what it was thinking then and how that applies to how you feel about the current results now and how the current numbers read in light of what you thought before, 10 days earlier. So making these connections with your brain is so important, and it forces you to take time to let things develop and to have your subconscious mind go at it and do its part and really put your mind to it and all, let it sink in and give it the time that it takes to mature.
Yes.
That is awesome. That is really awesome. Yeah, so I think that we're at a high note here. I don't even want to talk about much else anymore. This is just awesome. Thank you for taking so much time. Let's maybe mop up some of the questions here that came in the last few minutes.
Sure.
So let's see. We had the main bidding method. We didn't have that. So Shavdar is asking, what is your main bidding method? So manual bidding is my main method, and I usually bid on purchase events. That's what I usually bid on. It's notoriously hard to bid on that because you always usually you have to bid quite a bit higher than what you're getting as an actual cost. And then, so it's always walking the line between turning the traffic off and getting too much traffic and not enough conversion. So that's always going to be the problem. And you just solve it by, the solution actually always comes from higher engagement on the posts. Whenever you have this conundrum where all of a sudden you have to bid $65 to even get traffic, and the conversion value that you're looking for is maybe $20. If you look over to your ads and you look at your relevance score, you probably will find something in the 4 to 5 to 6 range tops. And that just tells you that your engagement on that post, on that particular ad set with this targeting and this creative, that combination is not engaging enough. That's why you have to bid so much to get any traffic at all. So the solution for bidding is usually not in some technical thing that you get information from the data, but then you have to make the solution happen on the creative side. Not in the data. There's no technical trick for the solution. The solution is always in the creative side.
So a lot of people doing something like this. Okay, so I find a product, for example, I have this product, so I created a video for this one, and I test the video. If the video is not working, then I will switch another product. I will find another product, for example, this iPhone, right? So test another video and do something else. Well, that's the wrong way to do it, because if you find this this product and you create one video, you can always test to change the video. You can. I met a friend who changed the playback speed, the music, the cutting, the first 5 seconds of the video. Usually people say something. Usually people show something in video, something like, "This is the unboxing of the product, and this is the final product." Right? They change it, showing the final result first, the end benefit result first in the first 5 seconds before showing the unboxing. So you switch something like that, it will generate the result.
Right.
So that's.
Yes, absolutely. And particularly if you have done your product research properly, you know the product should be great. You know, you can make the product work by changing the creative and by making it more engaging. Exactly right. All right, let's go to Felix. Do you find Facebook ads without text perform better than ads with text, even if we base the 20% rule?
I do mostly video though.
Different, right? I mean, ads that don't look like ads perform better than ads that look like ads. And if the text is going to make the thing look more like an ad, then that could be a problem. Otherwise, if it's, you know, like exclamations in the text that make things more interesting or maybe even funny, could be great, you know?
Yeah, put emotion into your ads.
Yeah, tell a story with the text. Story. Yes, exactly. Gretchen, so you make 3 ad sets with the exact same everything. That's a question to you, yes.
Yes, just duplicate everything. Wait 10 to 12 hours for me with $100 budget per day. Yeah,
nice. And then they're going to ask, then what do you do if you find the winner? What do you do then? And then you start at $100 a day. Okay, so Dean is complimenting that for, oh, there's more. Oh, look at this, so many questions. All right, how do you have time to consistently create informative, engaging ad creatives for test products? Do you outsource? Okay, so that does come into team building. So let's talk about team building a little bit. That's our last point on the agenda here, really.
Okay, so most of the time who do the product research is my wife, and she also do the video. So actually you cannot use the exact video from your competitors. Okay, you cannot use that. You cannot use like copy video from YouTube into your ads. It's not allowed. You can get flagged for that. So what you can do the best, if you don't, you can create on your own. I have a friend who do this. He target black people country and ask someone black people to create the video. So it's really relevant to the audience. And he pay only like I think $150 on Craigslist to have someone do the video. If you don't have access to that, what you can do is just like mixing a lot of video. Do a lot of mixing, I mean the clip, and then use free copyright music. Don't use other people's music, guys. It's not allowed, it's copyrighted. Use free copyright music. And that's it. Add more text, something like that. So it's really like your own video. It's not like copying. If Facebook see that you are copying, it's a problem.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, stay away from that. Bad idea. You
have to put your effort into it though, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. How do you determine, William, how do you determine that the product that you're testing is a winning product? What's the key metrics you see on Facebook?
I think consistent ROAS is the key, right? I don't know about you, Thomas. I'm checking with the consistent ROAS. For example, if I run for 2 days and 3 days and the ROAS is higher than 2, usually it's a winning one. Yeah. Just need to tweak a little bit. That's for me. That's
right, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. I always... This is very similar in so many different industries and so many different situations. I was doing real estate before I got into heavy Facebook ads, and on real estate, I was flipping houses and finding motivated sellers all the time. And it's the same thing there. You make phone calls, or you knock on doors, whatever you do, you talk to a seller, and you always feel that, how do I know that I have a motivated seller? But the moment you talk to someone, you totally know. There's no question. You're looking for the total winner. You're not really looking for the products that squeak by. You're looking for the products that are just taking off like crazy. And that's what's gonna happen if you do that systematically, and you put on all this effort into the creative, and you're creating a great video that's engaging. Then that product will eventually, you find the product where the video will just catapult it, and it'll go wild, and the ads will be super cheap, and there'll be sales for very low CPA and very high ROAS, and that's how you know that you have a winner. For everything else, don't confuse stuff that help pay the bills with actual winners. I mean, there are products that help pay the bills. There are products that are total losers and time wasters, and then there are products that are the big winners. So between the first two, the ones that help pay the bills, you have maybe about 20 to 30% of everything you test is kind of in that, right? If you're somewhat good at picking the right product, you're putting in good effort in doing the creative right. 60% is probably 65% is losers, and that leaves you 5% for the big winners that you're looking for. So the 5% are going to be not that many.
Yeah, that's why I'm keep emphasizing on keep a workflow for yourself, because you don't care about scaling if you don't know how to do a product research properly.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, that's the one thing. And then the next thing that is always a really big problem is that people are just not putting any effort into making a proper creative and making the creative interesting, you know?
Yeah, of course.
You may have a winning product, but if you just run a lame AliExpress picture in an ad, you're not going to ever know that it was a winner. Okay, Tom, last question here. Is it advisable to switch a winning auto bid ad set to manual bid, or do we need to recreate that ad set in a new campaign? How do you do it?
Oh, for me, wait. Well, for me, I do new. Usually, I do new campaign for that one. Can you still showing the question? Yeah.
You duplicate, and then you have a manual bidding ad set from scratch?
Yes. I tested last time. If I do, like, I want to scale the auto bid, I cannot scale as much as the manual bid. That's the case. With auto bid, I only able to scale like to $500 a day, but with manual bid, it's actually at the same time frame, I'm able to scale like $2,000, $3,000 per day. So it's kind of, for me, better to scale with manual bid for me. But I met with some friend that can scale auto until 10K something, but probably it's only like one winning product and that's it. I'm not sure yet. For me, just keep testing, guys. Just keep testing. Right. Maybe your ads account perform differently than mine or Thomas.
Yeah, right. I mean, always just take inspiration and ideas from other people. You don't want to, it's just get into the practice, into the habit of launching ad sets and running different tests, and that will find you the best winners anyway. I always say at our events, I always say, hey, if we all do the same thing exactly, it will stop it working immediately.
Yes.
we have to have this creative element that everybody has a different take on even the same technique, and that way things will come out differently. So let's talk a little bit about the travel schedule. Go ahead.
Wait, one more thing, Thomas. I got one insight from a friend that his ads campaign doesn't perform well on auto, for example, and he just changed the ads account and the problem is solved. That's it.
So move everything to a new ad account?
Yes, new pixel, new ads account, the problem solved.
Yeah, new pixel, right, yeah. We do that all the time too. We just throw an additional pixel into Trackify and it warms up pretty quickly. It's very unintuitive the way that, there are a lot of myths about how the pixel works. And a lot of times if you go against the grain with your tests, you find better results that way.
Like, it's like the pixel is overhyped, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, this was a great call. It was much longer than I thought. I thought we would be running out of stuff just to talk about after 10, 15 minutes, but not at all.
You did great, man. You did great.
You did too. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on. So you're not going to be in Singapore, are you, when we're there? Your travel schedule is different.
Yeah. I have different schedule. I have different workshop in Indonesia.
Right. But we do have an event in Singapore coming up here later this month. It's only about 3 weeks away, a little less than 3 weeks, right? Yes. So yesterday, 3 weeks, in 3 weeks from yesterday is the first day of the event. We have a few tickets left. It's a 2-day mastermind pixel mastery intensive event. You know, so a very small group, kind of like this Cologne event that we saw earlier. So let's see, let me take Feline and you out of here for the big one.
It was so great.
It's going to be kind of like this. You should come. Yeah, you should come. I agree. So come on to the event in Singapore. Send me a private message if you're interested in that event. There's also a big, huge event. Like I heard there's like hundreds of people going to be there at the Ecom World Summit, also in Singapore, and the 2 days before that. And we actually have VIP tickets for that event. You can get the VIP tickets by themselves from us, and you can also get them as a bonus if you come to our event on the 23rd and 24th. So PM me on that, get the details, you get the link, and I hope to see you there. Thank you so much, Denny, again, for being on the show. Next time, we'll bring Feline on with you.
I will tell her about that.
We won't let her get away by being in the shadow. We want to know everything about product research. But that was an awesome tip, starting with YouTube. That's a golden nugget right there. Okay, guys, thanks a lot. Ray is saying it was great. There are a couple of more open questions. We'll ask them in the chat or next time around. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for your time. Thank you, Denny. Have a great day. Have a great night wherever you guys are. All right, take care.